What's up, guys? Welcome to Mike It Yourself. And for today's video, we're addressing the problem that I've been trying to address with my '07 Road King Blue for a little while, pretty much since I got it. Um, let's jump into this. Damn it! All right, guys, if you've been following along with me as I started this journey in my search for a King and picked up my '07 Road King Blue here, one of the things that I shared with you was the seat that came with my bike. Now, this is a great seat. It is super, super comfortable. Okay, this is the Mustang seat. I'm not sure what the actual model specific is called. I'm sure if you did a quick look up, just look for the biggest damn seat they have, and that's it. Right? Like, this thing is massive. Your passenger has plenty of space and then some, right? And then same thing as for the rider. Now, the big difference here is the size of this seat. What I mean by that is width. So because this seat is so wide, and it's about 18 inches wide from this side to that side, it causes your legs to bow out, right? And when your legs are bowed, of course, by default, you don't have the same amount of reach. So on its own, this bike sits 2 inches higher than the newer Road Glides, probably the Street Glide, and I'm sure even the Road King, right? Because they're all the same. This one sits 2 inches higher. So having that 2 inches plus bowing out your legs really takes away from your ability to straddle this bike. Let me show you. I'm going to go ahead and set this thing up so you can see where my feet, toes are reaching on this. Okay, so now I'm definitely not a tall guy. I'm 5'8" on a good day. So that said, let's look at where my legs and where my feet are when I stand this thing up and try to straddle the bike. So it's not too bad, right? Like, I'm not able to flat-foot it without essentially standing up. If I sit down comfortably, then my heels kind of float above. They're floating just above, maybe about 1 inch to 2 inches above the ground. So that's with this seat on. So in my previous videos, I was looking at ways to resolve this height issue, right? So one way I tried to resolve it was by getting the lowering brackets for the rear of the bike, and I had dropped it all the way down to 3 inches. And if you watched that video, you know that I ended up rubbing the inner part of my fender. So that's not cool. That ain't gonna work. So I had to bring it back up. It's sitting at about 1 inch low, so I still have the blocks on, but I only dropped it 1 inch, and to be honest, that's what's allowing my heel to hover. If I put this thing back, raising it up an additional inch, I'm not going to get that chance, right? I'll be very much on the tiptoe / ball of my feet. So this is a problem for me, right? Because I'm insecure or something. I don't know. No, actually, I just like to be flat-footed, right? I just feel a little bit more in control of the bike when I'm able to do that. So knowing that that is not a solution by just lowering the bike, I had to look at other possibilities. So the possibility I'm looking at now is a new seat. So here's the seat I bought to replace the Mustang seat. And if you notice, I like to fish, but I've got a fishing, what the hell do you call that damn thing? Scale. Because when I got this, immediately the first thing I noticed, and this is an unbranded seat, so this is made by nobody, apparently. Something I picked up off of eBay for an extremely low cost. And when I say extremely low, I don't mean like 20 bucks. This was about $100 for the seat, right? But there's a significant weight difference between that seat and the Mustang. So I want to measure it. I want to weigh it. And so what does that tell you, right? Like, okay, so there's a heavier difference. What that tells me is the foam used in this seat is probably much higher quality, of course, and then denser, right? So it's just, there's more to it. So hence why it's going to be heavier. Either that or it's soaked with weird crap or something. I don't know. Maybe it's like filled with water or something. I don't know. Something's making it much, much heavier than this seat. And my thought here was, worst case scenario if that thing is not comfortable for me, then I can either choose to buy another seat, or I can just have the foam replaced in this one. There are many local shops here in my area where I could take that in. They'll just replace the foam, throw the cover back on, and I'll probably get it done for, you know, still a fraction of the cost of one of the higher price seats like this guy. This guy's actually a pretty expensive seat. So you're talking several $100 for that one. So I kind of lucked out getting that. And it's not something I'm going to get rid of because it is very comfortable on those long rides. Let's do a little bit of seat comparison. Since you know that the length of this isn't going to be any different because it's got to be able to push in up to the tank and make it all the way back to the securing nut or whatever on the back fender, that's going to be same. Like I said, it's really about the width here. And if I do a side by side, I'll tell you that this seat is about 15 inches wide, so it's 3 inches more narrow than the Mustang seat. And then of course the passenger pillion part of this is way more narrow, so that's probably like about 8 inches, where this one's probably closer to about 12. So a huge difference in the width. Let's take them off. Let's do the weight comparison. All right, in this corner, weighing in at about, oh, hang on, I got the kilogram side. I'm a pounds kind of guy. So we got 10, 11, 12, about 13 pounds. So the Mustang seat weighs 13 pounds. Let's compare it to the other seat. Okay, our new eBay special, 6 pounds. So a huge difference in the weight of the seats. Now, something else I noticed as I was looking at these seats is the front tongue, right? So that's what I'm calling this piece here. So this one is shaped kind of like in a downward deal, where that one is straight out. So I'm probably gonna run into some fitment issues that I'll have to address by bending this, probably straightening it out. Because I think what it's gonna happen is it's gonna dig in and dig down and not fit correctly. So let's take a look. I'm gonna throw the tongue in that hole. And yep, I'm feeling resistance. So I'm gonna flex that tab so I can straighten it out to allow it to glide up instead of kind of running. I'm sure if I put enough pressure, it'll go on, but this thing should fit rather smoothly. So that should be a pretty easy fix to do. All right, so this is a big problem. The screws that hold this in are mounted with nuts on the other side. So as soon as I released it so I could flex this so I didn't crack my plastic here, they just slid down. So now I'm gonna have to come up with some kind of mad scientist method of capturing the nut so I can screw this back down, and then I can never let it go. So let me figure out how I'm going to do that. Probably just going to use a magnet to move it in place, and then tinker around to get it to float there while I screw in the bolt. But that's a problem. So my fix for this, because those nuts are floating around in there, like I tried getting the magnet and this plastic is too thick, or my magnet's not strong enough, so I can't really drag it. And yeah, so what I ended up doing is finding bolts that fit those holes, kind of treating this plastic and threading it. That'll hold this in place. It's probably not the strongest, not that, I mean, it was doing the exact same thing, it's just now it's relying on the plastic to be the thread. And what I'll probably end up doing is figuring out a way to rivet it on to the plastic. So for now, these bolts will suffice. Let's see if my little tinking that one kink out made a difference here. Okay, it's still a little snug, so let me toy around with that that little metal piece to get it at the right angle, because that's really what it's all about, is finding that sweet spot. And I'll bring you all back, but you know, just to kind of show you how far off this is. It's not much. Again, if I push pressure on it, I could probably put that securing bolt in, but I don't want to do that. I want it to sit and, you know, mount correctly. So I'll bend some metal. So I got this thing tuned up just about right. I almost had to completely remove that second bend because I'm not sure what they were trying to fit it for, but I ended up making it almost like a skateboard ramp coming up. I did have to increase the bend here a little bit more, but now it's able to scoop in. So let's put it on. I'll show you the fitment here. So you can see now it sits right up on the tank like it should, and then on the back side it goes right over that oh god, I can't think of the name of it, like nut plate, I guess is what I would call it. So then now I can go ahead and put my securing bolt there, and it's on. So it looks great. It looks like the stock seat. What I do like about this model is I can now put a backrest if I want to, or with the Mustang Seat, even though it looks split, it's actually one piece. So you can't put, or unless Mustang has a special kit, but I can't put a backrest in that, which I would really, really love for longer rides. So I don't know, maybe I should reach out to them, see what they got. Maybe there is a solution there and I'm just not aware of it. But let's take a look at how my reach is now with this seat on. Okay, so now I'm sitting and I am completely flat-footed on the bike. I'm not having to stand up, so it does make a huge difference. Not having that width, the 3 extra inches of width there, it's not blowing out my leg, so I'm bringing it closer and able to straddle the bike quite a bit better. So there you go. You can see, no problems. So there you go. It looks like a cheap solution to my big problem, which was, you know, just that height, that reach issue that I was having with the Road King. And the downside to it, of course, is quality of the product. We saw that right off the bat with the weight. Huge difference. It's just like white foam in there. So I don't know anything about foam. So if you do, and I'm telling you it's just white solid foam, that's probably the cheapest one you can get, is my guess. And I may have to replace that foam in the next like 6 months. I don't know, we'll have to see. The other problem was the mounting didn't fit just perfectly, so I had to modify that. And in that process of modification, you know, I found that they used nuts on the backside of that those screws. So unfortunately, those are lost now. I'm gonna have to find another way. I think there's some like almost like rivet nut fastener things that you can use. They usually come with the air deflectors. I might be able to use those. I'm just not sure. I'm gonna have to do some experimenting to figure out how I'm gonna keep that thing in place. I don't think it's a safety issue, so you know, fingers crossed it's not. I hope not. I don't think so. I don't see that making the difference. So anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up. If you enjoy my content, become a subscriber. I'd love to have you as part of my community, and I look forward to your contributions in the comments and asking questions or providing answers, because I definitely don't know it all, that's for sure. This is just my hobby, definitely not my profession. And until that next video does post, I hope to see you in the win.